Good evening, good afternoon, wherever you find yourself in this weird, wild, wacky world of ours, and welcome to the exciting installment of Shadow of the Iron Throne.
I was going to say, this ain't Dublin.
Shut up. Because I apparently must announce it like that every time we do. Sir Daesip, you have been drinking, carousing, and enjoying the fruits of the hospitalities of the capital. You have just exited one pub, which is called the Bronze Head, which has a large swinging sign of a presumably Targaryen king, his head done in bronze. It laps back and forth in the breeze. You've had a pleasant evening, all in all. It's a little bit after midnight. I'll tell you what, let's roll a d10. Because how drunk is your character likely to get?
He's in the middle of a joust. Probably not that likely, to be honest. He's not non-alcoholic.
Okay,
he's just not. He's not too big into the drink.
You're actually pretty sober. I just rolled a chance die. You rolled a 2 out of 10. So you will be making your way along the streets. This is not one of the high-class drinking establishments the nobility would tend to frequent. When you see an individual, a figure with his hood up, and he points at you, and he kind of beckons, like, come.
Baranon rises from his chair, just kind of tossing a few coins onto the bar side as he leaves his seat for the bartender, and will follow somewhat warily. Doesn't really take his eyes off the man.
The figure starts to move away. He leaves the tavern.
Okay. Sir Daesip shall continue following silently. He'll slowly begin to catch up.
The figure takes you down back alleys and side streets. You can catch up with him if you wish.
I will.
You talk to him?
He actually will. He will simply say, "And who might you be?"
I am no one of importance, my lord.
Why do you beckon me?
Someone far more important than me wishes a private conversation.
Baranon simply remains silent.
He leads you down to what appears to be a partition under the wall of King's Landing that has clearly been forgotten about. It was a drain at one point, but it has been corroded almost through, and you see the figure duck underneath it.
Baranon looks nonplussed at the idea of having to duck under this drain, but he'll do so.
Out of the city you will go until you reach the eaves of the King's Wood, located not very far from the city proper. And you will see a number of individuals sitting there on horseback. They look like this. So obviously the sword is not drawn.
Baranon looks at these figures. Kind of. How many of them? Just 3 of them?
3 of them that you can see. Would you like to make me a moment? I have to get my own thing. Would you like to make me an awareness test with notice being the specialty if you have any?
Okay. That sweet 2 dice, baby.
Oof.
It's not Baronon's thing, but it's fine. Oh, I get 9.
Wow, consider the difficulty was 8. There are a number of men surrounding you now. They're moving around you. They have what appear to be heavy crossbows, but they're not locked and loaded at you. All in all, you guess, between the 3 in front of you, there are about 9 men surrounding you in total.
Okay.
I saw you joust today. That was impressive. The lead figure speaks. His voice is interesting. He speaks with absolutely no accent whatsoever, as if he had taught himself to speak with no accent whatsoever.
So he looks like the best way to describe him is he sounds as if he comes from nowhere.
Exactly.
Baronon simply says, "I'm glad you are pleased. I certainly was."
Where are my manners? They call me the Steel Grin Knight. If you have any underworld as a knowledge skill, you may roll it.
I have 2 dots in knowledge, but it has not been specified.
You haven't bought a specialty, which means you can still roll the 2 dice.
Okay. I get 11. Wow.
You actually succeed with 1 degree of success, because knowing who he is actually pretty minor. The Steel Grin Knight's kind of like a legend. He rules the underworld of King's Landing with an iron fist. No one questions him and ends up living. Every shipment pays him a percentage. He is a shadowy figure of death, mystery, and incredible amounts of suffering.
A pleasure to meet you, Sir Knight.
I'm led to understand that the spider paid you a visit.
You're well informed.
In my line of work, it tends to be best to be. Now, he made no offer to you in terms of money, I would assume. The spider does not work like that. He works on promises and fecalities. He wanted you to recover something. Something sent by House Blackwood as a peace offering to House Bracken. A weirwood bow, to be exact. Now, you could give it to the spider. I have no doubt that he will pay you lip service and platitudes. He snaps his fingers, at which point one of his men walks forward with rather a heavy-looking chest, and he drops it onto the ground, and he opens it. It's not a huge chest. It's roughly, he can lift it comfortably with his 2 hands, and it takes him about his center mass. And he says, "Here, or I can give you this." You open, as the box is open, there's at least comfortably 1,000 gold dragons in that box. And you can bring the bow to me.
Decent things on this. That's something very careful to consider, because obviously, tailing a spider is not really something one wants to do. feel like that's a bad thing.
True. However, the spider offered you no tangible benefit.
No, it's really it's not really a question of reward. It's a question of backlash.
Bear in mind, refusing this man surrounded by his men might also have backlash.
I know. It kind of puts me in a compromising position. How many wealth points are in there?
5.
5. Nice. So Daisy considers the amount of agency he actually has in this situation. Because if he refuses, he'll probably die horribly. Given that he's surrounded by, including the still grey knight, about a dozen men. Is not well equipped to kill a dozen men, and probably couldn't even on a good day.
Crossbows are also, lethal and made of pain.
Yes. Your offer is compelling.
One does one's best. I understand what it is to come from nothing, to have a name that has little value. Consider this a mark of my empathy.
Everyone considers that statement pretty carefully. Because that's an interesting statement to make for him. But I must say, your empathy marks great generosity.
The bow ultimately means nothing to you. The spider is an aging institution. His little birds have had their wings clipped for a very long time. Profit for yourself and profit for your family. I buy and sell information on a daily basis. I buy and sell lives like they were wheat. This is a good offer.
If I were to acquire the bow, where would I go to bring it to you, or one of your many affiliates?
Leave a candle in the window of Lord Gallows' manse. My men will come to you. Rather, leave 2 candles in a window. Your bedroom window. My men have already been to Lord Gallows' manse. Wonderful building as it is.
So Daisy nods.
Do we have an accord, Sir Daisy?
I believe we do.
He reaches down from his saddle with his hand.
I'll shake it.
If you ever wish to sell anything else, information, truths, I also pay handsomely.
I'll keep that in mind.
Good. In that case, I wish you good evening, Sir Daisy.
Likewise.
With that, he turns. The other two horses turn. The men relax their positions, filing back unseen into the forest before he turns his horse, and they ride back into the night, leaving you and the box in the ground.
I guess Daisip will take his earnings and make his way back to his house.
Weird question. Do you look in the box itself? Like, do you check and see the gold and all that stuff?
Yeah, I am going to double check.
As you do so, you dig down through the gold coins until your hand finds something soft, and you pull out a severed head from the inside of the box, and in its teeth is clasped a note saying, "This was the last man who failed me." And with that, we will end our scene. Thank you, player, for playing. Thank you for watching. This has been another scene in Shadow of the Iron Throne.